Hello and welcome to this week's episode of GIANT's Healthy Innovators Live TV. My name is Barry Shrier and I'm your host. I'm the founder of GIANT Health. We're a global community of nearly 300,000 people, everybody around the world whose business is healthcare, technology, and innovation. Our vision is to improve the health and the well-being of people around the world by supporting and facilitating the acceleration of new healthcare technologies and supporting the world's leading healthcare innovators and entrepreneurs. Every week, we scour the world and bring to you the leading innovators, the most interesting businesses that are making the best, most important contribution to advancing healthcare and helping the healthcare providers to achieve better outcomes at lower cost. So this week, I'm extremely proud and happy to bring to you the team from Beats Medical. So what I'll do is I'm just very briefly going to go around the room and ask everybody very briefly to introduce themselves, to say hello, and then we have an excellent conversation ahead of you. So thank you to all of our many thousands of listeners from around the world. Thank you to some of our lead sponsors. We'd like to thank Vodafone Business, McKinsey, and Barclays Bank International, and all of our other partners and sponsors. We love working with Beats Medical, a very interesting business, and very excited to have today's conversation. So hello again, and thank you to all of our listeners. Really looking forward to today's episode. So to begin with, we have Dr. Ciara Clancy. Hi, Ciara, how are you?
Hi, Barry. Delighted to be here today.
Yeah, great to see you. So very brief, if you don't mind, if you could just introduce yourself briefly and tell us a tiny bit about your background.
So Barry, my background is a physiotherapist originally. I founded Beats Medical in 2012 with the goal of taking clinically proven assessments and therapies for central nervous system conditions and rare diseases out of hospitals and into homes through technology.
Brilliant. Excellent. Thank you very much. Really glad to have you with us. And we're just going to go around the room in order of who I see on my screen. So Valter, good afternoon. If you could introduce yourself, please, briefly.
Hi, Barry. Thank you for having me here. I'm the lead data scientist here in Beats Medical, so I'm the responsible for the interesting part.
Excellent. Good stuff. And Planche, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. If you could introduce yourself, please, briefly.
Hi, Barry. As you said, I'm Planche. I'm the VP of Design at Beats Medical. And I'm responsible for everything related to user experience and user interface design of our products.
Excellent. Excellent. Unbelievably important. And on all of our shows, we're always getting a lot of important commentary about how the whole UX, the whole user experience is so very, very important. So keen to hear about that. Thank you. And Louisa, good afternoon. If you could introduce yourself, please. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Barry. Thank you for the invitation. And I'm Louisa Sanz. I'm VP of Partnerships at Beats Medical. I have joined Beats Medical almost 1 year, and it's amazing since then.
Good stuff. Whereabouts are you based?
So I'm based in Lisbon. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, good stuff. Thank you very much. Really glad that you're with us. So, Ciara, tell us a little bit about the background of Beats, please. Our listeners might be aware of you guys, but everyone loves to hear a little bit more of the personal story and the origin story.
Absolutely, Barry. In terms of, I suppose, origin, I remember the exact moment that I decided to found Beats Medical. I was actually working as a physiotherapist in a hospital, and my next patient, a person with Parkinson's disease, was 20 minutes late. I went out and found him stuck, frozen at the main entrance of the hospital, unable to move.
Oh.
When people with Parkinson's walk, this is quite common. They can suffer from short, shuffling steps and freezing, that feeling of being stuck on the spot. In a healthy brain or a brain without Parkinson's disease, what happens when we walk is it's almost like a beat or a sound wave that goes off that says step, step, step. But in Parkinson's disease, that signal becomes impaired, and as a result, they suffer from these symptoms. He was coming into me for a therapy called Metronome Therapy, which is essentially the prescription of this beat to help cue and control normal movement. The only problem was it needed to be individually prescribed daily, so as a result, was only available in the hospital. But of course, he needed it in the home every day, daily.
Sure.
So it was for this reason that I wanted to take these clinically proven assessments, therapies, and exercises done by allied health professionals, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech, out of hospitals and into homes through technology. And really, Beats Medical expanded from Parkinson's into other CNS disorders from there.
Excellent. Oh, absolutely superb. Well, congratulations on what you guys have accomplished so far. It's very impressive, and we're looking forward to learning a lot more about it. From our experience, the whole, what do you want to call it, the whole digital therapeutics industry is rapidly evolving. It's really expanding and it's evolving and changing quite quickly. A lot of global pharma companies tell us their challenge is literally keeping up with the speed of it. What are some of the biggest successes you guys have had so far at Beats?
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen huge changes in the industry, which have significantly impacted the successes of Beats Medical. We had a product which was the first digital therapeutic to attain reimbursement for a pediatric neurodevelopmental condition.
Wow.
We had really exciting. We had a public reimbursement in Australia, which is driven by patients and clinician advocacy, which again was hugely exciting. And we've been recognized by brands like Ernst & Young, Google, etc. But I would say that the biggest success that we feel we've had over the last few years with this growth is that of our end users. We've had users take our product and really take advantage of what it can do for them. We've had users walk from the bottom of the UK to the top using the technology, being able to use the speech exercises to say their grandson's name again. All of these things that can be really, really powerful to help these users take control of their symptoms on a daily basis. And I will say it drives all of the team, including all of the great individuals I have joining me today from our team, forward every day. It's about the end user at the end of the day and how they take what you do for them and push it that little bit further.
Yes, yeah. No, that's outstanding. I mean, I know from personal experience that when you are involved in healthcare and when you are creating new innovations which do directly touch patients and directly improve them individually, it sends shivers up and down my spine, that's for sure. And I'm very proud of that. You know, Ciara, it's a very competitive industry, and I'll be honest with you, not a day goes by without one of the global analyst companies showing a big poster of the competitive marketplace and the thousands of businesses that are piling in to create new digital solutions, digital therapeutic applications, and so forth. So it is a competitive environment. But what makes Beats Medical stand out from the crowd? Do you guys have a so-called USP, or what is it about you guys which is giving you a competitive advantage and an opportunity in the marketplace?
I certainly think we've solidified our competitive advantage in terms of our product reputation and patents for our processes. But I think one of the biggest areas that really distinguishes us in the market is this proven track record for providing automated objective assessments, individually prescribed, but also progressive therapy. So they are tailored to the ability of the user, but challenge them on a day-to-day basis, and focuses on the most common symptoms, not just one symptom, but the most common symptoms of CNS disorders. And we do this through an innovative platform, allowing other providers to come to us and have the same similar solutions for other CNS and rare disease.
Yes, yeah. Oh, that is interesting. So this concept of the platform obviously is very relevant. And Louisa, I wanted to ask you about that, please. As the VP of Partnerships, what value does it bring? It's called the Cobalt Platform, isn't it? So could you help our listeners to understand a little bit about that? And what value does that bring, please?
So sure, Barry. According to Ciara said, because of this modular approach that we have in a global platform that is regulated and patented, we can rapidly bring new solutions to the market. Oh. And so it's also a simple solution that requires no additional hardware, comparing to other main competitors in the market. And with that, we have the ability to capture real-time data through the computational power and sensors in standard smartphones, which is easier to commercialize at scale. And finally, I think it is important to say that it is powered by advanced AI and machine learning, means we can quickly deliver precision therapies, as Ciara said, daily to our patients. And the real world data that we can collect it also allow us to get better understanding of the disease and patients with the potential to develop digital biomarkers.
Yes, yeah. That's extremely interesting. The application of machine learning and AI obviously holds out the promise of extremely powerful capabilities on your platform. So who's the immediate benefactor?
For sure is for patients, and it means that we can deliver daily accessible and individualized treatment for patients to address gross motor, dexterity, and speech impairment, using only one phone at their homes or anywhere. And with it, we can empower patients to better manage their symptoms and increase their quality of life with the potential to reduce consequences like, for example, falls. And with this, we provide healthcare providers with a tool to augment their work in the
Yes.
hospital back
Yes.
to the patients' homes. And they can get more data from the patients that support better clinical outcomes and decisions.
Yes, absolutely superb. I'd like to learn a little bit more about it, Louisa. I mean, your role as a head of partnerships, isn't it? Who's your immediate audience? Who are the immediate target to broaden that out?
So, having worked in the pharma industry for over more than 16 years, I know that there is huge value in with pharma.
Okay.
And for example, for pharma, they can have a fast and customized solution in standalone or in combo with their drugs to improve patient experience, get better understanding of the disease, and patients to drive better decision in clinical trials and get advanced insights to support drug market access in terms of reimbursement or commercialization.
Yeah.
And we are also looking beyond pharma, for example, payers. It means that can increase access to therapies in patients' homes with cost reductions, not only from the treatment, but the potential to reduce costly complications such as falls and surgeries. So, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. We have a lot of conversations with senior leaders in the international pharma industry. GIANT Health is sponsored by a lot of global pharma companies, and they all seem to understand the potential with DTX, but to be honest with you, sometimes they tell us that it takes them outside of their comfort zone. Their origins are in molecules and testing drugs and manufacturing and global distribution and regulatory relating to drugs. This is an experience that we often hear from them. So Louisa, I'm just wondering, I hope you don't mind, I'm really keen to learn more about this. How do we move forward and deliver this value to potential partners like the pharma industry? How do you break DTX into mainstream? Because DTX obviously is here. We have evidence, it's valid, it's global, but I think it's safe to say it's not really mainstream, is it, compared to the global pharma industry? So how do we break DTX into mainstream?
So, Barry, thank you for the question. I think it's very true. So, at BITS Medical, we want to empower every patient with neurologic disease and improve patients' lives. And at the beginning, in BITS Medical, we started as a B2C model, going directly to patients to learn from them and see the immediate impact and huge value that we can bring to patients.
Right.
And after these years, we see great impact in our users who are paying out of their pocket. But as we know, the healthcare system is complex, and at the end, the question is who should pay the treatment. And to achieve our vision, we need to work in collaboration with healthcare partners to make this incredible innovation accessible to all patients. So at this moment, we are really focused to building long-term partnerships to shared value relationships with our partners, pharma, payers, employers, that can make our solution accessible to more patients and faster. And if you look nowadays, our regulators and payers are already seeing the value of digital therapeutics. And if you look for several countries in Europe, we can see clear and fast reimbursement pathways like Germany, UK, and France that can accelerate the delivery of these treatments to the patients in a more accessible way. So we want to work with the partners to go through these pathways and others to make our products accessible to our patients. And we have done this before, achieving reimbursement from one of our existing applications, as mentioned by Ciara before.
Yes, yeah, excellent. No, that's a very helpful addition. Thanks for the insights there. Ciara, do you have anything to add? I'm just wondering about the challenge of DTX breaking into healthcare systems.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, following on from, I completely agree with everything Louisa said there. I think it touches on a point that you made at the start, Barry, where you're seeing more and more conversations around user engagement and engagement by design, which I'm really excited to see, because the healthcare industry by its nature has not had positive user experience baked into it. I mean, we don't expect the best user experience when we engage with hospitals, and when we do, it's a huge surprise and delight to us. So we really feel that digital therapeutics needs to be a step above and a step ahead of the game and embed good user experience into digital therapeutics from the start. And this is to transform the healthcare industry's perception of this and the whole lot, but actually fundamentally to have that impact by bringing customer-focused mindset to digital therapeutics from the beginning, we can drive long-term user engagement and retention. And what does that mean? More retention, more longevity of use means more impact. And I think that's something very powerful that digital therapeutic companies should be speaking of early, and potentially could change the future of healthcare systems forever if we embed this in.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, we certainly subscribe to that. Blanche, you're the VP of Design, obviously. Very, very keen to hear your additional views on what we're talking about. But to begin with, if you don't mind, love to hear a little bit, please, about your background and how did you move as an expert in the area to into the digital therapeutics industry?
Hi, Barry. Thank you for having me. As I said, I'm Blanche. I'm the VP of Design at Beats Medical, and I've been working in digital for around 20 years now, from digital marketing to consumer products. I had the opportunity to work with brands such as Nike and a long time in financial services area. And I wanted to embrace a new challenge that would actually improve people's lives and bring all of this expertise into the digital therapeutics area, of course.
Yes. How did you discover Beats Medical, or how were they lucky enough to find you?
Well, I think it was a mutual find.
Yeah.
Basically, I was looking for something, and Beats Medical was also looking for someone with my profile. So
nice.
It was a very, very good match.
Excellent. Yeah, no, that sounds very good. I'd like to ask you, Blanche, please, can you help us to understand further, what are the design capabilities? I don't think I have my head around the whole Cobalt platform fully. So if you don't mind elaborating on that a little bit.
So the Cobalt platform is actually really, really good, even from a designer perspective, because through the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning, the Cobalt platform can actually create a customizable interface that you can tailor to deploy specifically to your patients. And this tailored experience can range from a simplified user experience, of course, to an immersive and themed deployment. This will, of course, promote more engagement and adherence from the patients.
Yes, yes. Who is it doing that? Is it your business, or is it your customers that are doing this, what do you want to call it, platform customization?
I think Ciara is the best one to answer this one.
So in terms of that, so essentially we have created incredible products that have really, I suppose, had a huge impact on our patients' lives. As Louisa mentioned, we started direct consumer. So we know what patients value, and we create products that are so good that they're also willing to pay out of pocket.
Okay.
But now that we partner with the pharmaceutical industry, it's about them coming to us and us delivering those game-changing products to their patients, covered by the payer or the pharmaceutical industry, to create that engagement and that huge value for the end user. So we work with them to customize for their patient population in the CNS space.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, that's really helpful. Blanche, this is so interesting, and the design aspects of this are so interesting. What would you say are the like the main issues, the main impact of design and its capabilities within the world of digital therapeutics?
So when you're looking to create a product that produces a consistent user engagement, retention, and adherence, design should always be at the center stage. Creating the best user experience for the patients will actually develop a long-term relationship with the users, of course, and this will generate improved patient outcomes, real-world data, and understanding. To give you an example, in a 12-month observation of our patients, we could see that our users completed 61 average monthly activities. We had 80% long-term engagement and retention, and this also led to a 102% increase in physical activity. These numbers actually showed us that we have an unrivaled behavioral change in our patients.
Fantastic. I mean, the fact that you have this direct evidence is just absolutely outstanding, isn't it?
It is. It's amazing.
That it's immediately available. I can really see the benefits of how, long-term use and engaged patients is invaluable. And Valter, I'd love to bring you into the conversation if that's okay. Could you tell us this theme around long-term engagement, retention, adherence, how does that impact, or how does that drive value from the clinical perspective?
Hi, Barry. Thank you for having me. But It's simple. So the more our product is used, and both in number of patients we have and the frequency each patient engages, the more data we have. And with more data, we can work with to make it meaningful insights with them. For example, nowadays we are hearing more and more about topics such as real-world evidence, digital biomarkers. One thing they all have in common is the data. And to be able to create these, we need to have two major things: data quality and data quantity. About quantity, it's important to have more daily data as possible so we can gather insights from patient evolution. From this, there's an endless realm of things we can do, from better tailoring of therapies to a better understanding of diseases progression, and even conditions diagnosed by using this data to build digital biomarkers.
Superb. Yeah, no, I mean, data is the core, isn't it? Data is the foundation. And the fact that you guys are acknowledging that and addressing that is so important and so impressive. Valter, if we could continue along that theme, I'd love to learn more about this. What direction are we heading in? I mean, for example, how do you take this data? How do you make it meaningful? I'm often hearing from an awful lot of people that we're drowning in data, but that's not the point. It's the information, isn't it? It's the learnings or whatever. So if you could expand on that, what's the purpose of it?
Yeah. You touched on the point. So, as I was saying, there are multiple areas that this data will enable. Our current focus has been digital biomarkers because it's really important to find them for these CNS conditions that still don't have a definitive diagnostic test. Being able to find a digital biomarker that allow us to diagnose and classify the level of disease will be complex and a long-term challenge. But our goal is start by the basis, and this translates into continuing to collect data can allow us to detect disease progression. But to be able to choose the right data, and here is the point that you were touching, it's essential to have a multidisciplinary team looking from the engineering and medical angles.
Okay.
And if we can detect progression, we could also detect presence or absence of disease, and also use this data and these insights to enable real-world evidence in clinical trials.
Yes.
Because using real-world evidence in clinical studies means we get a really holistic picture of how the person is doing every day across the study, as well as making it easier for patients to participate in research. With a decentralized approach using digital solutions, we can engage patients at home, making it potentially easier and faster to recruit participants and helping to reduce bias in recruitment.
So interesting. How are you working towards this validation, Valter? What are you guys doing in that approach?
So the idea is to enable our data as real-world data.
Okay.
And to do this, we need to have two major things. Confidence in the way we are recording the data, and also validation after collecting. To have confidence in our algorithms and data, we do a lot of tests that include clinical trials and studies. And in these studies trials, we compare the data we recorded with the data we gathered in a traditional way. For example, we are conducting a clinical trial in the US with a placebo of our product that only records data without any treatment for this purpose.
Nice.
Just to have an idea of what we are doing.
Yes.
And also, we have a lot of validations and triggers after the data has been collected. And all of this process will allow us to check data quality, check if there are outliers, and if you can understand why they happen,
Right.
and also look at patient evolution.
Wow.
And and only with all of these validations it will be possible in the future to have people using our placebo app in the clinical trial, and then combining that data with real-world data, that because it will be easier because they will be recording in the same format, in the same method, using the same methods, and all in the same platform.
Exactly. Yes. Valter, this is absolutely fascinating. Of course, you hear about the application, the use of placebos in clinical trials in the drug world. That's been around for many, many, many decades. But to hear how you guys are doing it in digital therapy for validation is extremely impressive. And what a great way of obviously enhancing your work and improving the validation exercise. So congratulations, really, really interesting. Hey, well, look, I wish we were all together in a beer garden right now, and I would buy you all another drink and we could talk for about another 3 hours, because this is one of the more interesting conversations we have had in a long time. And the work that all of you guys are doing is so impressive. For me, it is literally sending shivers up and down my spine regarding the application and the benefit to patients as well as clinicians and healthcare systems. Maybe, Ciara, we could just round off a few of the things we've been talking about, if that's okay. Like I said, we don't have too much time left in this call, however much I'm enjoying it and however interesting it is, I'm sure, for our many listeners around the world. Ciara, where do you think the future of the industry is going? If you could talk about that broadly. And then the second question is obviously with regard to Beats Medical. And you guys are leaders. What you're doing is very impressive. You have a solid foundation, a strong brand, obviously an incredibly impressive and passionate team. How are you going to continue on that journey, and where do you see the company going?
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. I mean, from the very beginning, as you can see from the team, Beats Medical, we're always looking to the future, the potential of digital therapeutics, but also the digital biomarkers embedded in those products, the objective assessments that we deliver every day. In the short term, Beats Medical will continue to deliver great digital therapeutic solutions for the pharma and payer industry and healthcare industry as a whole to help individuals take control on a day-to-day basis. But in the long term, as you can understand from some of the discussions today, when we look to the future, the potential of the data collected from our high retention, highly engaging products, this data can really be game-changing and bring us to the next level, the next frontier of healthcare, and help us understand disease, particularly CNS, which is so complex in a way like never before. So I suppose while we're 10 years in this industry, we're very much at the beginning of what we do believe can and will be achieved in this industry.
Sure.
And it's no more of an exciting time. I think digital therapeutics are going nowhere. If anything, I think they're going to become the norm. And digitalization of healthcare, I think, is already paving the path for that exciting future that I expect we all will live into. Digitalization in the healthcare systems and provision will be just part of our day-to-day lives.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, great update and great information. Thank you so much for sharing. On behalf of all of our listeners, Ciara, help us to understand a little bit more about how people can engage with you. If you can repeat the name of the business and your website, and that's two questions. Third question is, if people would like to reach out to you guys, what are you looking for? What are your asks to the global healthcare community?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find out more on our website, www.beatsmedical.com. We are open to discussions with partners, payers, pharma, healthcare systems who are as passionate as we are at either gathering data to understand disease better and inform new treatment pathways,
right,
or provide digital therapeutics which really elevate the care level, either paired with drugs or stand alone in a payer partnership to help enhance the lives of the patients they treat. If there are partners that are passionate about that and as passionate as we are, you
Sure.
can see from the team here, we're so open to have those conversations and deliver the game-changing products we've already delivered for Parkinson's, developmental coordination disorder,
Yes.
to rare diseases, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, all these other CNS disorders that we are already working in or continue to work into the future.
Yes, exactly. Excellent. Hey, well, look, this has been such an incredibly interesting conversation. On behalf of everybody at the GIANT Health team, obviously, and everybody in our global healthcare innovation community, thank you, Ciara, and of course, Valter and Clancy and Louisa, thank you very much. I know you guys are super busy, so we appreciate you making the time to share your story with us. Obviously, we want to wish you every luck and lots of success in the future, building on the success that you've had already. So good luck with everything. Very keen to keep in touch with you. Maybe 6 months from now, we can catch up again and hear how things are going.
Let's do that. Thanks, Barry.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. Once again, thank you to all of our listeners around the world. My name is Barry Shrier. I'd like to remind you that this year, our business, GIANT Health, has its annual flagship event on the 6th and 7th of December in London. Please have a look at our website, www.giant.health, and we invite everybody who's involved in healthcare and innovation and technology to come join us. This year we have 4 extremely interesting shows, including one revolving around digital pharma, one show about mental health tech, one show about future hospital, And then for the UK healthcare system, we have the National ICS Congress. We're happy to announce our sponsors, including Vodafone Business, McKinsey International, and Barclays Bank. We love working with them, and we love working with all of our partners. And we've really enjoyed, for example, the collaboration with Beats Medical. So thanks to all of you guys. Really keen to continue developing our discussions and work with you guys. Anything we can do to support you, we'd love to do. So thanks again, everyone, and looking forward to keeping in touch. All the best.